Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are. Hope you're all well. Hey, Fabio, there you are. So, today is the ZRL Recon for round 2. We will be doing the fine and sandy route, and we already have 38 people in the pen, and we'll be setting off in just under 5 minutes. So it should be a nice, easy ride. We're going to try and keep to 2.5 watts per kilo at the front, and then 1.5 watts per kilo at the back. So, and I've got a dual role as one of the leaders. I'm going to be trying to do the chat as well at the same time as live streaming. So this is bound to go wrong, but we'll we'll see how it goes. So more people joining. So for those of you that are interested in this particular race, then it's a points race. As yet, I haven't actually seen what the segments are. I haven't seen the scoring either, but we all know that WTRL and Zwift have been having some issues. And in fact, there was an email sent out, I think, this morning with regards to being able to redo the team time trial event from last week. So we're debating whether to do that. I'm sure many of you are. There was quite a large number of riders that were unable to participate because race passes hadn't come out in time. And yeah, it's quite, it's been, quite sort of late to the party, I think, in many respects. You'd have expected this to have been sorted out in plenty of time for when the ZRL started. But here we are. So let me know in the chat if you're planning on redoing your team time trial event. It'd be quite interesting to see how many people it has actually affected. And let me know what your thoughts are. But anyway, we continue with round 2 for the time being. And this is another relatively flat course, but with a couple of climbs on each lap. So, as I'm sure you're probably aware, there's different race distances for different categories. So for A's and B's, and I'm a B, we'll be doing 4 laps of the route. So that's over 40 kilometres and about 300 metres of elevation. And then for C and D riders, they will do 3 laps, and that will be just over 32 kilometres and 232 metres of elevation. So it's the first time I've seen them split it up. I think possibly the idea is with maybe people who are new to ZRL, not to put them off with, more than 1 hour races. I'm sure it'd probably take me plenty more than an hour to do that race over 4 laps. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see eventually, I suppose, how the participation numbers are, maybe compared to last year. So only a minute to go and then we'll be off. So enjoy the live stream, and if you're watching this later on, then please leave me some comments, especially about that bit regarding the TTT from round 1. Really interested to see what everyone's thinking. So like I say, I'm going to try and multitask with in-game messaging and doing the live chat as well. So please let me know if there's anything that you want to discuss as we're riding around. I'm quite happy to talk about tiny races that I did yesterday. Okay, and here we go. So far so good, this seems to be working. So we'll just try and settle out at 2.5 watts per kilogram. So I think okay. So that's the fence turned on. This is all news to me. And you can see we've got the fence up. The idea is this is a group ride. It's obviously not a race. So this is the first climb. And you can see it's relatively gradual. So nothing too difficult, but for the A and B riders, we've got 8 of these to do. So there have been some people removed, but there's still 100 of us, so that's quite good. So I'll just send another message. So it's quite a flat course all the way down here. We just need to go up a gear, try and keep the pace around that 2.5 as advertised. So we can leave that for a minute. So it's interesting that you get to see this perspective from a ride leader's point of view, that you can see flyers and then how many the wall is removed. So as you go through the wall, you get a warning to say that you've gone too far ahead. And if you're a rider, that is. But the idea is that this is very much a group ride. It's not a race, as much as we all love to race. But we hosted one of these last week, and there was a few comments about people trying to keep up. And, you know, that's not what we want. We want to make it an inclusive one, because obviously there's A, B, C and D riders probably doing this today. So, you know, it's important, and it sort of fits with the ethos of the club that we try and make it as inclusive as possible. Ah, hi Mark. Yeah, so there is actually a rocker on the front, you just can't see it in the video. It's specifically built for the Zwift ride, this one, by a company called Omni Rocker. So I'm going to do a review on it in 2 or 3 weeks. I've been asked a few times, because obviously I was an advocate of the tennis balls, but I still am. So there's a whole story about it, about how this came to pass. But I'm going to save that for the video, just to keep you in suspense, and hopefully you watch it, of course. But yeah, so I've been trying it consistently for only a couple of weeks, so I want to give it a little bit longer before I draw an opinion on it. But yeah, this one is in 2 parts. There is another bit at the front which you just can't see out of camera down here. Pleasure, mate. So you can see, fine and sandy, it's a mix of tarmac, gravel and sand. But the interesting thing about this is that sand rides the same as tarmac, so it's only really gravel that causes the resistance to increase, I suppose you should say, in the game. So in terms of bike choice, you know, I mean, it's really like having 70% or something along those lines of tarmac. So I mean, that lends itself obviously to the tarmac SL8, an aero setup. Yeah, it's quite interesting. In fact, Jay Dirom and the cyclist have all done reviews and Recon rides and what have you, and I think they're pretty much in agreement that this is the right way to go. Obviously, if you're relatively new, let me just send this message. If you're relatively new to Zwift, which if you're anything like me this time last year, you will be, then you're probably looking at the Canyon Aero Road, which you can get sooner in the game. And then basically the most aero setup that you can get. Through the that's interesting. I'm not sure why, but the fence disappeared. Yeah, so Canyon Aero Road, if you're at a lower level and haven't got enough drops. But if you can get the tarmac SL8, then that's definitely, I think, the one that you should go for. So you can see that when we get to the climbs, we've got this right hand bend and it's all gravel, so it's almost like a double whammy. And then you get this little decline whereabouts you can get your pedal speed up and attack this relatively short Mecha Isle climb. But because it's gravel, it's at 3.8%. Somebody's asking how much our sweeper weighs. I have no idea. It's 3%, but there's more resistance because you're on gravel as well. So if my understanding is correct, that does make it feel a little bit tougher than if it was on tarmac. So you can see it's about half a kilometre, I think, or 400 metres. And like I say, you've got this a couple of times in the race. Well, you've got it 6 times or you've got it 8 times in the race, but a couple of times each lap. So we're doing 3 laps today. So it's a nice little workout. It's going to take about, I don't know, 50 minutes or something. Sweeper's at 7.1 kilometres, front is at 8.6, so we've got a nice spread. 100 people. And then we get the gravel downhill. So obviously important to keep your speed up and over the top, because it seems to me that, particularly on the last lap, depending on how well grouped together everybody is, that may well be the attack place for the sprint finish down the hill. And as you can see, it hangs right here. We go over this bridge, it's still all gravel up to there, but then it's tarmac for the last 1.5 kilometres. So it's a fair old push. And if you've lost a peloton on that last climb, if you're in contention, then you are going to be really struggling to get back on in time to compete for the finish. So because it's a points race, I think it always throws up some quite interesting conversations in teams. I'm just going to get a drink. About what the strategy could be. And essentially, yes. Oh, there we go. So being asked to turn the fence 10 seconds, which I've done. I didn't realise that the ones that are lit are the ones that it isn't. So there we go. Okay, so we've got a longer fence now. Right, well, for next time I'll know how to do that. And so will you if you're watching this. But yeah, so I was saying about team tactics. So it's quite an interesting one in terms of who's still going to be competing. And then, you know, you've obviously got first across the line through the segments when we find out what those are. And we've got fastest through segment, again, when we find out what they are. So I think we know which they'll be on here. There's a couple of segments, as you can see in the map, in the top right hand corner where those little green dots are with the white drops around them. But it's, you know, there's points up for grabs. So there may be some people in your team who perhaps, you know, I mean, maybe like I will get dropped on the climbs because it's not really my strong point and I'm a bit heavier than I have been in the past. So I could see that happening. But if you've got if you've got a bit of a sprint in you, then there's nothing to there's nothing to stop you almost coasting, but then just powering through those fastest through segment points to try and get the points. So, yeah, there's team tactics at play here. It's quite a nice course, isn't it? It's quite nice to look at. So, yeah, it's up for discussion. I think it's kind of a case of thinking about who's able to do what in your team and being kind of brutally honest about it. Or maybe, because I mean, we all have good days and bad days, so it could be that you approach it, that you see how everybody's going as the race progresses. And then as people drop, I mean, if you're all on Discord, voice chat, obviously you can talk to each other, we will be. You can then call it at that point. So here we go on our second go. This way round on the Mekyle climb. You can see, as I said before, it's not it's all gravel, so it does feel a little bit harder than just being on tarmac. But it's a relatively short, punchy climb, so there'll be some powerhouses just blasting up here, I shouldn't wonder. And there we go, as we go through the top again. Over this bridge, you definitely want to keep the power on, because if you don't, getting back on, I think, will be a bit of a challenge. So I think we're not doing too bad as advertised in terms of our 2.5 watts per kilo. I've averaged 2.4, so that's not too bad. £64, Irish. So anyway, I imagine you've got the idea now, if you've been watching from the beginning, about what the course will look like and how it's going to ride. And now it's just down to discuss your team tactics with the team that you're in and work out how best to approach it. But there's 2 more races to come in this round 1 of the ZRL. So as a club we'll be doing more of these Recon rides, and apart from the last one, unfortunately, when I go on holiday, well, not unfortunately, I mean going on holiday is nice, I will not be able to do one for that. But then we'll go into round 2, and as many of you will know, there's 6 races in round 2, as there is in round 3, and then we finish off well into next year with round 4. A different format to last year, where there was 3 rounds, and then there was a finals, but I think the finals wasn't all that well attended. We certainly struggled to get a team out. So I think the idea of having another round potentially is trying to encourage people to continue with it into around Easter time. I mean, it kind of depends. In the UK, many of us would be outside riding. I mean, I will be doing both. Unfortunately though, my bike got stolen this week, so I don't currently have an outdoor ride. But I obviously will, well, I'm hoping the insurance comes through, but I will replace it. But Easter, in the UK at least, I'm sure in other Northern Hemisphere countries as well, can sometimes be glorious and sometimes can be absolutely miserable. And that's one of the beauties of living in England, that you never know what you're going to get. So it could be that if it's glorious, you know, many people pause their Zwift subscriptions, and that could mean that the attendance for that round 4 is kind of difficult. But and I'm talking UK specific here, of course. And but equally, on the other hand, if it's absolutely miserable, then I guess we'll all still be sat indoors. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how it pans out. I mean, I fully expect it to be well attended for the first 3 rounds, because that takes us to, I think, if memory serves, around February time. So we're just coming up to about a halfway point, a few hundred metres, and at a really sort of leisurely 2.5 watts per kilogram, that's taken about half an hour. So for the C's and D's, I'd imagine it'll be just under the hour mark, depending on what your watts per kilogram is. And for the A's and B's, it's going to be more like, I don't know, well, for the A's, maybe closer to an hour, but I think probably more than an hour. And for the B's, hour and a quarter-ish, somewhere around there. So that, as far as I can remember, and bearing in mind I only joined in last year, so please, if you've got more experience than me, many of you have, let me know. But from my memory of last year, that's significantly longer. I think the longest one last year took in the New York Common. I think it was maybe a semi-final. I can't quite remember. I seem to remember that taking the best part of an hour. So yeah, it's probably one of the longer ones in ZRL. So it should be a proper old calorie burner if nothing else. And for those of you who've been following the channel, you'll know that, like any other 55-year-old man, I struggle with my weight and I struggle with my fitness a little bit. Seems to me that it's much harder to keep an eye on it. Last week I was in Brussels for work, the day job, and staying in hotels, which makes it very difficult to eat sensibly when you're sort of in the office and you come back and what have you. Some people are having a bit of a go for this sprint, so I'll just try and keep the fence ahead of them. So Type Pool Sprint is almost certain to be one of the segments, and I think that's why people are racing it, just to sort of get a feel for it. But yeah, just going back to what I was saying there. So didn't ride for a week, didn't really get very much exercise in, a bit of walking but nothing much, and I put half a stone on. So for those of you who are metric, that's about 2.5 kilos. And in 5 days, a couple of burgers, pizza and a couple of puddings, and my metabolism just just doesn't handle it. So this needs to be a good week. I'm hoping I can get a chunk of it off before Tuesday, because I will weigh myself again and put the right metrics into the companion app for the ZRL, because, you know, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's what you should be doing, so that it's all fair. If it was an outdoor road race, I would weigh what I weigh. So I haven't changed it today. I only weighed myself this morning because it doesn't matter for this. But for the race on Tuesday, I will do. So I've got today and tomorrow to maybe get a kilo off or something, I suppose. But I mean, how do you do that without eating? That's no fun. So, bloody hell, it's hard work. So as we come for the second of the 2 climbs on each lap, you can see that we're going in reverse. And you've got that little lump, and then it just eases on this bridge slightly, and then a push up this hill. Yeah, somebody's put in the chat, no gravel bikes needed for this. Well, I agree. I think most of it is tarmac or sand. And on this climb, I mean, you'll be just putting the power down anyway. So, I'm not sure how much difference it would make, but I think you'd definitely lose time on a gravel bike. Struggle to keep with the peloton. I mean, it feels like this will be push on the climbs, recover in between, and hope you haven't burnt all your matches for the final push to the line. Well, considering how many of these Recon rides are available, because they've been running since Thursday, I think, with other clubs, and here we are on Sunday, to have 101 people turn out, I think is brilliant, and it just shows the popularity of ZRL. But the only other thing that I can think of, well, there's a couple that draw similar numbers, is the Flamme Rouge racing, which if you haven't tried that, get yourself in a team and go to the flammerougeracing.co.uk website. So they're very well attended and really good competitive hard races. And then there's Ecro, of course, with their chasing series races, again well attended for the most part, and ZRL. And then the other one that you don't really have to, you know, make any additional effort to join is the Zwift Insider Tiny Races, which I did yesterday morning. There's a video out later on today if you want to see how I got on. But they're always really well attended and they're a proper old workout. If you don't know what they are, I'm sure many of you do, then they're 4 tiny races, as the name implies, over an hour. So each race 7 to 10 minutes, depending on how how well you do. And then you've got about 5 minutes of recovery and then you go again. So 4, one after the other, all starting on the quarter of an hour. And then there's a GC effectively. So you can get a total for having raced all 4 races and see where you finished against everybody else. It's not mass start, it's by race category, A, B, C, D, and they are really competitive. Now, I hadn't done some for a while, but I've forgotten how much I really enjoy them when I finish them at the time. Good God, they're tough. But they're a great race to do, or great races to do. Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, in UK time at least. And then I think 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. There's 3 times that they run all on a Saturday to try and suit everybody with their time zones. So I can recommend those. And then there's some that I haven't done, which quite a few people have mentioned in the comments to some of my videos. So Sisu is on my list to try, and they look to be very well organised, very well attended. And there's another one, but its name escapes me. If I remember it, I'll come back to it. So there really is plenty of racing on here. And then of course you've got crit races, you've got some of the epic races for those of you who want to do something that's like 100 kilometers or more even. So there's always rides to join and races to do. So we're on our final lap for today, but if you're a CD rider, this would be exactly your race length on Tuesday. But if you're AB, you'd still have another lap after that. So keeping with the peloton, but trying to use the draft and pace yourself, I think is going to be crucial for both races. So we've just got the Mekal climb to do a couple more times now. There we go, this little lump. So again, you need to be ready for that on the day. It's only a couple of kilometres into the first lap, and you could absolutely see a bit of a semi-attack going on there, and then pushing on onto the main climb. Okay, let's try and keep our watts per kilogram sensible. Almost feels a bit like being a robo-pacer doing this. Oh, now I know how they feel. Trying to maintain an average pace. I don't think I've done too badly. 2.48, that's an average. So you know you're getting towards the top of it as you see the mountain in the background. And just this final 5% bit where it's just peaks at 6. So you can just feel it a bit harder there. And then we level off as we get to the bridge. Keep your cadence high and your watts high. Stay on with the pack before you get a bit of relief on the downhill. I haven't had any word on the power-ups actually. I've not seen anything on that, so I mean you've got to imagine that there'll be probably a feather and a steamroller, I think, maybe for the gravel bits. Wouldn't be surprised. Maybe I've missed it, maybe the information is out there, but I haven't seen it. And it seems to me it's always a lottery with power-ups, because there's been races whereabouts they've literally just come the wrong way round every time, and they just end up giving you no advantage whatsoever. Well, disadvantage, because other people get them the right way around and you don't. I really still believe that, you know, the power-up should be the same for everyone. But greater minds than I don't agree. Thanks, Darren. How was your race, Darren, if you're still there? Okay, into the final 6.5 kilometres. Oh, it was one of those, was it, mate? Where did you finish? Oh, that's all right, isn't it? Oh, well done you. Does that mean you're not drafting as much as you should do? 11 out of 14, well done, mate. Oh, it's an ITT. Ah, well, in that case, very well done. I hadn't realised it was a individual time trial. Yeah, I really like them. Yeah, go and get yourself laid down in front of the telly with a beer, mate. Proper training, you've come back strong. Oh, I don't know. He messaged here early on, but I don't think he hung around. He's not riding this, I don't think. So there we go, 5 kilometres to go, so that's halfway through the final lap. Oh, my MacBook, Darren, yes, I've got it back. It's here, just out of shot. Oh, it cost me a fortune to have it repaired. And it's literally, how long have I had it? 4 months old? Maybe a bit longer, 6 months old. So almost 2/3 of the price that I paid for it to get repaired in the end. It's not been a good week. My bike got stolen. Our electric bikes got stolen that we use when we go camping. And then my MacBook got covered in a drink. So I'm hoping next week it will be better. So just this final climb, and then you will have seen, if you've stayed with the video this long, the whole of the CD race. And if you can picture it, one more lap for the A's and B's. So that's quite a nice Zone 2 ride for a Sunday afternoon. No, yours was not a Zone 2, Darren. Oh, I'll have a look after. Tomato ketchup. What's your FTP now? Have you done the test? Okay, so we finished with this nice downhill. But I think that last climb, and then still having the legs to push over the top, is where it's going to be won and lost. If you're not tight with the peloton as everybody comes over the top, you just definitely won't have enough chance to get back on. So if you're a contender for finish points, then you want to be right there. And then, I mean, I imagine here it'll lull a little bit, maybe for as much as a kilometre, while everybody regroups, and then I can absolutely picture a 300 to 400 metre sprint at the end. So if you're still in contention, I think absolutely hammering it up that last hill and over the top and making sure that you're in the wheels, I think then you'll get some respite on this bit here. And then, like I say, it'll then be that push towards the finish. And there we go, right, and then a left. It's that last 150 metres. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this live recon. I'm sure many of you haven't listened to me rambling for the whole time, but have maybe watched it on a speeded up version. But as always, I appreciate you joining, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. So, ride on everyone, and have a good race on Tuesday.